definitely.
And
excited.
what's your name? Kyle. Is it Hakeem or Akeem?
Akeem.
Akeem and Kyle.
Yes.
Cool.
Awesome. I don't even know if you should introduce me. Right now I'm on Venice Beach. I just met an awesome guy named Allen, and we've just been talking about ego and different things that interest us. Is there anything that you have for me? Or?
Yeah, Akeem, thanks for having me. The beautiful Venice Beach. Kyle behind the camera. Thanks, brother. Yeah, ego, I've been saying this recently that nature dwarfs my ego. So whether I'm watching sunrises or sunsets or I'm at the beach and I see how massive the ocean is or how massive mountains are, it dwarfs my ego, and it helps me further realize that I'm not at the center. I'm a grain of sand on the cosmic scale.
Exactly. And it's funny that you said that. I was just at Joshua Tree with Kyle and had a little shrimp trip.
Yeah.
And we're out there and just looking at the sky, and I told him that this is the ultimate here. And the ultimate is that there's hella other shit going on. Yeah. Like, I'm looking at the sky, and it's like, for the first time, I'm seeing stars really move. Like, they're moving.
Yeah.
It's not like just, they're really, really moving. Like, what the hell? And then, like, so then you realize you're on this ball in space, and you're one of those dots.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's probably someone on one of those dots just saying, hey, look at one of those dots.
Those
And it's
dots.
like, and look, we're having a conversation, have no idea what this. So just kind of like you said, it just kind of humbles you. And it's like, you're not really anything, bro. But then you're everything.
Yeah.
So I think that's the real key is to accomplish both. Is that you don't really matter, but when you need to matter, you need to implement that. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Find that meaning and purpose in life, whatever that may be for you. For me, it's enriching humanity or making the world a better place, however it may be, and chasing that meaning, and then seeing that, you are that everything in chasing your dreams and making the world better. But you're right, when you're at Joshua Tree and you look up and you see all of the stars, you realize that there are flying rocks around those stars, and that they could be looking at us as well. That's another way that nature dwarfs the ego. And when you said also that there's so much more actually going on than what meets the eye, because when you go out into the ocean, so much of the ocean's still unexplored. 90% of it's unexplored. So the abyss, everything below that doesn't get light. And you got to think about all the ecosystems that exist there. At Joshua Tree, when you're sitting there looking at the desert ecosystems, there are so many micro animals and even animals that exist there at night during the day that live and have their own ecosystems.
Own thoughts, own reality, own way of eating, own way of surviving. And it's very interesting, to humble yourself in that way. It's like that even in this sand, there's living things there. And it's just like it kind of just enriches you, and when you embody the vastness of how there's other shit going on, I feel like you reach truly that God consciousness where you're just in the flow of the universe, and whatever you're doing, you're just doing it, and it's just happening for you. Yeah, man.
I have a thought for you.
Yeah.
So everything's intertwined.
Yes.
Everything's connected, and we're connected to nature, and the way that we perceive reality is in a way that is this first person subjective experience, and that consciousness is something that I hope to help other people see my first person subjective consciousness, because the way I see things, I see them intertwined, and I hope to help other people see these ecosystems intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are non-natural ecosystems, like the way that commodities move throughout the world, how we pump oil out of the ground and then we put it into our cars and burn it, and how we harvest, how we grow food and harvest food and move that as ecosystems throughout the world. That seeing things move like that and helping other people realize that there's tens of thousands of McDonald's and tens of thousands of Starbucks and tens of thousands of Walmarts and millions of people that work at these places, and eventually their jobs are going to be automated. That labor is one of the most expensive goods and that businesses pay for, and all those jobs go away. That 10% of men work in the driving sector as either truck drivers or taxi cab drivers, and autonomous vehicles are coming. And so the way that to understand the systems we live in, and then to look at the future and see where it's going and help other people realize that, how can you help drive people to see that vision?
Definitely by fully understanding it, and I feel that I do. I know that the Earth is going in a very progressive direction, whether we want to believe it or not. I don't think that man or woman should be doing actual hard labor. So I think that we need to allow the machines to actually work for us, because that's why we created technology. Technology is, it's like a consciousness child of who we are. So it's like, if we can understand that and just accept, okay, we don't have to do everything. And now I think that after you accept that, you're free to roam the universe. You're free to understand everything. I think that we don't understand anything is because we're working every day. And you have to work at Starbucks. You got to do this. You got to do that. One, you of course get rid of the trash and whatnot. But like, there's nothing wrong with Walmart if there's no economic cruelty behind it. It's just a place that houses clothing and other goods. So it's like, we have to change our perspective on what human life actually is. And I guess I can do that by just helping people to understand who they are. Because when you understand who you are, I feel that's really the base. Self-love is the base. And when you build from there, it's just, you get to the God consciousness and everything in between. So I think to answer your question is definitely just understanding that you are a soul in this human existence and not the other way around. And from there, you just explore.
So what would life be like for, we don't do hard labor. Humans no longer do hard labor. So what do we do every single day when we invest money into robots that plant the crops, harvest the crops, use solar energy as fuel, and then send the crops to my house? But then what do we do is my question is like, what is the ultimate God consciousness? What would we do then with our creativity? We would use our abstract to make the world a better place. Is that?
Yes, but mind you, there wouldn't be any money involved. Money is going to be eradicated. I think it's more of an effort involved. So it's like, money doesn't make the machine, the person makes the machine. And then the money doesn't make the machine operate. Solar energy or wind energy or, aqua energy is what makes it operate. So it's like, money has to go, and then I can't honestly say what the hell we'll be doing. I know that we'll be creating, but it's like, it's kind of hard to imagine that when you're not in that reality. It's like, I'm inspired to make some a YouTube series where I'm talking about consciousness, because I know that a lot of people don't have it. And we and him was actually having this conversation. It's like, we make short films as well. And recently I made a short film about little girls, dancing around the world, spreading their vibration. But it's like, once everybody understands that, then it's like, all right, then what are we what are we making? So I don't know, but I know that the universe is forever expanding, so we'll figure out something. But I think that the core is really just understanding that we don't need the things that are tearing down our society now, like money, like commerce, like, just fucked up way of doing things and surviving.
Like violence and rape and pillaging people. We don't need those things. We don't need hatred, none of those things.
It's just, but kind of going back to what you said, it's a play of the universe. It's our harmony. The chaos that is just as godlike as the peace. And when you just realize that it all just is, then you just be.
And it buzzes at that.
The sound of the universe, sound of creation. Yes.
Yeah. Akeem, it was really nice talking to you, bro.
You too.
Really nice
honestly,
talking to you.
thank you for the intriguing questions. It's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. And this is Akeem Griffey, and this is Allen
Sakyan.
Check him out on, you have a YouTube
series? We have EurekaComedy.com is our science comedy show. 2030 Podcast is our podcast. And writing up 2 books right now. So hopefully they'll be out soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Awesome.